Hello everyone. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, and let's go.
Let's take a look at and analyze the current situation. When the woman you love dresses for a predator's eyes, your intuition is the only thing standing between safety and total devastation. Let's dissect the subtle red flags most men ignore until their lives are already in freefall. For educational purposes only. All right, pull up a chair. You want to hear about David and Laura? Man, that's a story and a half. This all went down in a quiet little corner of New Jersey, the kind of place where everyone keeps their lawn perfect and their secrets locked tight. Listen, David had just finished a brutal 60-hour week at the logistics firm. He's the kind of guy who's worked hard his whole life, put in the miles, and all he wanted was a cold beer and a hot meal. But the second he walked through the door of their colonial-style home, he knew something was up. He sees Laura heading for the kitchen. She's wearing this little black dress, the kind that costs more than a set of new tires, and definitely is not meant for a quiet night of Netflix. She was writing something on a notepad when he walked in. She looked up and flashed him that smile that still gets in, even after all these years. "Good thing you're home early, Dave. I won't not even have to leave you a note," she says. David just stands there, looking at the dress. "What's the deal, Laura? Why are you all dolled up like that?" "I'm going on a date," she says, cool as you like. A date? David could not believe his ears. He almost dropped his car keys. Well, technically it's a bachelorette party. Ava, Hannah, and Megan are celebrating. One of them is finally tying the knot, and they dragged me into it. I said yes. David looks at the dress again. It's short. Real short. To a bachelorette party? In that? Laura catches her reflection in the glass of the oven. Yeah. What's wrong with it? I think I look pretty good. You look too good, David says. He's not being sweet. He's being honest. There's no such thing as too good, Dave, she snorts. There is when you're the only married woman in a group of single girls looking for trouble. You know every guy in the bar is going to be staring at you. She leans in, wraps her arms around his neck, and gives him that look. Do not you trust me? I trust you, Laura. I do not trust the rest of the world. You love the attention. You have one or two margaritas and suddenly you're everyone's best friend. I've seen it happen. We've had to leave 4th of July parties early because you had a couple too many and started getting a little too friendly with the neighbors. David just stood there, probably picturing some guy with a spray tan and a leased BMW hitting on his wife. Laura saw he was genuinely worried. Are you saying I cannot go? I'm not saying that. I know you've been wanting a night out. It just bugs me, is all. Then she gets this idea. What if you come with me? Not with me, but you go to the same club. You stay close. Keep an eye out. David thought about it. He hated the idea of her out there dancing with some punks while he was at home. Fine. Give me 10 minutes to change. She literally jumped for joy. They were headed to that new spot on 3rd Street, the one with the red neon lights. You know the place. David hopped in his Ford F-150, and she took her own car because she was meeting the girls at Ava's place first. Before she left, David pulled her close by the driveway. Laura, I want you to have fun. I just do not want us waking up tomorrow regretting something. I do not want that either, Dave. Having you there makes me feel safe. Now go get ready. The girls are waiting. Anyway, David gets to the club, parks the truck, and heads inside. It's loud. It smells like expensive perfume and cheap gin. He grabs a whiskey, neat, and finds a table in the back with a clear line of sight to the dance floor. 15 minutes later, the squad shows up. Laura, Ava, Hannah, and Megan. They sit right across from him. Within 5 minutes, some guy is already sending a round of shots to their table. Before you know it, they're all out on the floor. David's trying to play it cool, but he's watching her like a hawk. That's when this brunette, nice-looking girl, maybe in her late 30s, walks up to him. "You want to dance?" she asks. David figured, why not? Might as well blend in. They dance for a couple of songs, then head back to his table. She looks at him and smirks. "All right, fess up. Who is she?" "Who?" David tries to play dumb. "The woman you're staring at. Wife or girlfriend?" "Look, Dave. I'm guessing your name is Dave. You look like a Dave. Married guys usually wear rings. And guys who are drinking with a girl like me do not spend the whole time scouting the dance floor like they're Secret Service." David sighs. He points. "The blonde in the black dress, dancing with the guy in the red shirt. That's Laura, my wife." "She's gorgeous." "So, what? You're spying on her?" "No, she knows I'm here. I just do not trust the vultures in this place, especially when she's had a few." The girl, her name was Amy, looks at the floor. "That guy she's with? He's already got his hand on her waist. She pushed him back, but she's laughing. Give her 2 more drinks and she won't not even notice." "Exactly," David says, his jaw tight. Amy smiles. "You're a good guy, Dave. Giving her space but keeping the perimeter secure. Tell you what, I'm just here for the music, no strings. Let's dance again. It makes you look less like a stalker and more like a guy having a good time." David laughed. "All right, Amy, you've got a deal." So they spent the next hour or so out there, keeping an eye on things while making sure the night stayed under control. Time passed, and the drinks kept coming. Dave watched as Laura got looser, her movements getting sloppy on the dance floor. Eventually, she stumbled back to the booth, looking completely spent. Amy looks at him and shakes her head. "Listen, Dave," she says, "any second now, one of these vultures is going to try to talk her into an Uber to his place. If I were you, I'd go in there now, grab her for a dance, and get her the hell out of here before things get ugly." "Good call, Amy. Thanks for keeping me company," Dave says. He really appreciated her having his back. "Anytime, Dave," she smiles. Dave gives Amy a quick, friendly peck on the cheek and marches over to the girl's table. He stands right over Laura and puts on his best polite voice. "Excuse me, ma'am, but would you care for a dance?" Ava and Hannah just about dropped their drinks. They stared at him like they'd seen a ghost. Laura did not even look up at first. She just waved a hand at him. "Sorry, pal. I think I'm all danced out for tonight," she says, sounding real tired. "You sure about that? Come on, just one more," Dave pushes. That's when she finally looks up. Her eyes go wide. "Oh, hey, honey, I did not even realize it was you. Yeah, okay, I'll dance with you." Dave looks over at Ava. "Ava, you're the designated driver, right? Look, I'm taking Laura home in my truck after this song. You do not have to worry about her." "You've been here the whole time?" Ava asks, completely floored. "You really think I'd let her come to a place like this alone? Look at her. She's beat. If I wasn't here, who knows which one of these creeps she'd be leaving with. Anyway, you ladies have a good night." Dave leads her out to the floor for one slow dance, then basically carries her out of the club. By the time they got to the Ford, she was so hammered he had to hoist her into the passenger seat. When they got home, he tucked her in and let her sleep it off. The next morning, Dave's sitting at the kitchen island, drinking black coffee and reading the paper. Laura crawls in wearing her bathrobe, looking like she got hit by a freight train. She pours herself a cup and sits down across from him. "So, Dave says, not even looking up from the sports section. How much of last night actually stuck in your head? Not much, she groans. I remember you dancing with some brunette, though. That was Amy. She knew I was there to keep an eye on you. We just talked. She figured I was a safe bet since I was not trying to get in her pants. Did I do anything stupid? She asks, looking a little ashamed. Nah, I kept you in my sights. You got pretty loose, though. A couple of guys were getting way too handsy and you were not exactly stopping them. But nothing happened that we cannot move past. Okay, good. Did I at least leave with you? Yeah, you left with me. We're gonna have to go pick up your car from Ava's place later. Did we dance? She asks with a weak little smile. We did. Last dance of the night was all mine. Well, she says, trying to be positive, I had a good time, but I do not think I want to do that again for a long, long time. Thank God for that, Dave says. I do not want to spend another morning wondering if something terrible happened because I was not fast enough to stop it. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm going to go back to bed for a few hours. She leans over, gives him a kiss, and disappears back into the bedroom. Dave tries to get back to his paper, but he can't not stop thinking about it. He felt better, sure, but there was this nagging feeling in his gut, like, what happens next time? A few hours later, Laura comes back out looking human again. She sits down and looks him right in the eye. You're still chewing on it, aren't you? A little, Dave admits. Look, I'm glad we're okay, but we gotta talk. Why do you feel like you need to go to a place like that? You could have gone to a nice dinner with the girls, but you chose a dive full of guys looking for an easy mark. Laura was quiet for a minute. I don't know, Dave. Maybe I just wanted to feel like I've still got it. After 15 years of marriage, sometimes I feel, I do not know, invisible. Dave felt like he'd been punched in the gut. Invisible? Are you kidding me? You're the most important thing in my life. If I have not been making you feel that way, that's on me. You do, she says quickly. It's an internal thing, I guess. It's stupid. Dave reaches across the counter and grabs her hand. It ain't not stupid if it makes you go out and get trashed in a club. Look, I think we both let the fire go out a bit. We've just been living side by side instead of together. Laura nodded. You're right. We need more us time. Dave thinks for a second. All right, tell you what. Let's start over. Forget last night. Tonight, we're going out. Just us. Nice dinner, and then we're gonna go dance. Even dancing? She asks, smiling for real this time. Even dancing. But only with me, Dave says. He was not joking, but he gave her a little wink. She laughed and hugged him. Deal. And you know what? That talk changed everything. That night, Dave took her to a real nice steakhouse, then found a spot with a live band. They found that spark again. It was not just a night out. It was a new chapter. No more clubs, just a lot more of those dances they used to love. Look, that night at the club, it did not break them. It actually became a bit of a running joke in the house. You know how it is after decades of marriage. You need something to laugh about. Every now and then, some classic country song or an 80s hit would come on the radio while Laura was in the kitchen fixing dinner. Dave would sneak up behind her, put a firm hand on her waist, and whisper in her ear, Hey, lady, I've got my eye on you. Laura would just about lose it laughing. They'd end up slow dancing right there on the kitchen tile, between the fridge and the stove. No bouncers, no creeps in red shirts, and no risk of waking up with a hangover or a regret in the world. Those were the best dances they ever had. That night at the club could have been the end, but instead, it was the moment they finally started looking at each other again. They did not just grow old in that house in Jersey. They actually grew up. The main mistake here was not a lack of love, but a lack of leadership in the marriage. When you let a partner seek validation from strangers to feel visible, you're leaving the door wide open for disaster. First, never ignore a sudden change in behavior or attire. It's a direct signal that your internal fire has gone cold. Second, boundaries are not about control. They are about protecting what you've built over decades. If you do not keep the perimeter secure, someone else will try to claim your territory. What would you have done if you saw your wife in the arms of a stranger that night? Let's talk about it in the comments, and subscribe for more honest breakdowns of the modern male experience.